All right, so
Yeah,
guys, I have the founder of Jeks Forex and Crypto Trading Institute here with me today. We are going to,
yeah, nice to
yeah, so thank you very much for taking the time to do this.
welcome. It's always,
So today, let's kickstart.
yeah.
Um, I want us to get a little into your crypto journey and maybe dive a little into your background coming up. So if you're ready.
Okay, yeah, that's a question I tend to answer most times. But
Yeah.
as you know, the cryptocurrency space itself, it's a long journey. You
Sure,
know,
sure, sure.
as we know, the everything about the everything about the crypto space started, not more than 10 years ago.
Yeah, right.
Okay, yeah, and we all know some of us didn't even know what blockchain was all about. Even when Satoshi published his first article in 2008 during the global financial crisis, you know, most people didn't understand what he was saying. But
Yeah,
but the few people who understood what Satoshi was saying actually took advantage of that, the technology, and most of them are, they are so glad they did at that time. You see,
sure.
so my journey, actually, I'm just one of those who didn't really pay attention to the crypto space, back in 2010, 2011. I wasn't just interested for whatsoever reasons. I don't know, but something happened. I've been trading forex for years, and
Okay.
you know, my journey began from forex trading. Yes, my journey began from forex trading. From forex trading, yeah, I began to sign up with brokers that has Bitcoin as payment options. That was
Okay.
what actually brought me to knowing what Bitcoin is all about. So I had this broker from the UK. I wanted to deposit and think about it was about $200 to $300 like that on my forex trading account. And I tried using my Mastercards, and they kept on rejecting it. So when I wrote the company, I wrote the broker, and they're like, okay, you can use Bitcoin payment as an option. And I was like, what is Bitcoin? They said, just go to any, Bitcoin exchanger within your location. You can go to local Bitcoins. Just tell them you want Bitcoins of this amount. Well, we would have to send you a wallet address to send to them.
Okay.
So once they send it, we're going to see it, and we will deposit it into your forex trading account. So I started searching on the internet, Bitcoin exchanger. So I started searching like, oh, Bitcoin exchanger in Ghana. I checked, and I noticed, oh, I saw a company like that. Okay, I looked at the address. I actually went there, and I told them, you guys sell Bitcoin? I said, yes. Where is the address? They're going to send it to. This was happening in 2016, you know, the first months in 2016, thereabout. So I called. I actually I sent a mail to
Okay.
the broker, the person who was relating with me with respect to from the broker I was trading with. They actually assigned a personnel to guide me through that deposit because they knew I wasn't into Bitcoin, so
That
they
was your
didn't want
first
me to
time,
make
actually.
a mistake. So yeah, that was my first time. So when I sent him a mail that okay, I found an exchanger who's willing to sell, who said he sells Bitcoin and he can help me fund my forex account. He said okay, good. Tell him to send it to this address. So I just forwarded that message to the people, and they did the magic they did, and the guy called me that wow, he's got a Bitcoin that is funding my account right now. I'm like wow, So something that has taken me weeks. For weeks, I've been trying to make deposits with my
Yeah.
Mastercard. It was not just going through. I tried everything. I called the bank. They said there was no problem with my card. It wasn't just working. So I just walked into a shop, and within 5 to 10 minutes, man, they already got my money, and my account was credited. And I said, no, I need to know what this thing is all about. How does this thing work? you know. How come it's so
Yeah.
fast? You know, so that was what drove my interest into, even though I didn't pay much attention into crypto at that time because I was still more into Forex. I could trade
Yeah.
Forex for 2 days and could be in my house watching my screen, analyzing the charts and all those stuff. I wasn't really doing so well in Forex trading then, but I was just so interested in currency trading. I was just so interested in it. So I could spend days trading. I may not make so much, but those times actually helped me to figure out how the forex market worked. I never knew I was doing those things. I never knew that there was a bigger picture coming, like crypto trading and options and all those stuff. I never knew those things are gonna come so big like that. But I was just more focused on the forex. So, but that particular incident actually led me to check on Google what is Bitcoin. And as I started reading about Bitcoin, I started hearing things like blockchain and all those stuff. I'm like, man, this thing looks so strange. What is this all about?
Yeah.
So as I began to study about it, man, I was able to I discovered that it is something, I should have paid attention to 6 years ago. Okay,
Yeah,
so that drives
definitely.
me, and it drives me that in fact I started reading a lot about Bitcoin, about consensus mechanism, because I asked myself, I mean, okay, we're already used to the banking system where all our data is processed from a simple banking database,
Yeah.
where we can't really tell what happens behind the scenes. We just go to the bank, make a deposit, and we go home. And all we do is just to call the person who deposited into their account, and have you gotten the deposit? The person say yes, I got it. Then case closed. So we don't really know what happens, how the bank is able to route the money, to get to our receiver. But here is a case where I can view everything that happens between me, and the person I'm transacting with. So I really took interest in it. Like, how is this thing possible? Then I started looking into the hash functions, the cryptographic aspect of blockchain, and how it helps to create that security
Um,
and actually validate the transaction.
yes, I like where
So
you're
all these
going,
things.
but then I understand that this interest led you to found a trading crypto school where you can also give
Yeah,
access
yeah.
to people who are not privileged enough to have the opportunity to also learn and get to know more about the industry. So I want us to
Yes.
get into blockchain straight. So for the first time, you are a crypto educator, and I understand that you have students all
Okay.
over Africa. I want you to get into the fundamentals and explain what blockchain is to the audience.
Because
Okay.
it's more like a journey of self-discovery into another world that
Yeah.
I barely knew nothing about. But as I began to grow, I began to take interest in blockchain related things, and that even pushed me to start my postgraduate degree in blockchain development, which I'm almost rounding up on that. Started a couple of years ago. So that journey actually has really, what actually led me into starting up this online training session is to actually guide people to be able to separate the difference between a Ponzi scheme and a real business in the crypto space. You see, so because the difference between people who do well in the crypto space and those who get scammed is the level of information they have.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So
Yeah.
it has actually helped me. That it has actually, God has really used me to help a lot of people because I have a whole lot of students that, across the world, I've trained a whole lot
Yeah.
of people.
Yeah.
So most of them, I have people that before they do anything in the crypto space, they just send to me, guys, please can you just check this out? Is it real? Can I invest in this? So we just do what we call market evaluation. We just evaluate the project and we see why we should or why we should stay away. So if you don't have a mentor or someone to guide you that way, you're definitely going to fall into one of these
Yeah.
ponzi,
Yeah.
and that doesn't make the crypto space, a Ponzi scheme. The problem is the information people have. People
Yeah.
actually using it for the wrong things. Okay, so briefly about what blockchain is. we already know the banking system has a centralized system. They have their database, sitting in one of their buildings, okay,
Yeah.
protected by a very solid firewall to prevent any form of hack, because everybody that goes to the bank, everybody that is, that has an account in any bank, your data is actually with that bank. That's just the
Yeah.
truth.
That is
So
right.
your KYC, which actually your proof of residence and everything about you, the bank has it. Okay. So
Yeah.
the bank has a central database where they store all the details of their customers. So whenever you're going to carry out any transaction from the bank, be it a physical transaction or an internet-based transaction, the first thing you're going to be asked is where is your email address. First, enter your account number and your password. All right. So
Okay.
when you enter the right details, instantly you're logged into the bank database and you'll be able to see your part of your portal, all right, where you can send and receive transactions. All right, that's through a centralized banking system. Okay, but we now have the blockchain. Blockchain is simply a global decentralized spreadsheet, okay, or a global decentralized database. So in blockchain, we have a database that is not run from a particular center, okay, just
Okay.
the opposite of what the banking system is. The banking system have their database, some sitting
Okay.
in their office, some sitting at their central office, so they have a center point where they carry out all their transactions, through where they carry out all their transactions, right? But
Yeah.
in the blockchain setting, blockchain simply means a decentralized database, a globally decentralized database. That
Okay.
is a database that is not centralized, a database that is not hosted at a particular point, a database that is powered by what? By nodes. When I mean nodes, I mean millions and millions of computers connected on this network. Okay, actually contributing some part of their hardware, some part of their drive space, some part of their RAM speed. So every system contributes to this network. Okay,
Yeah.
that's how decentralized systems work. So once you are part of this network, you form that database, that cloud, that decentralized database, such that no particular system can actually control what happens in that database alone. So we have a system where every node, makes decision at the same time. So it becomes so impossible for a particular set of nodes to counter what millions of systems have already approved. All right. So
Okay.
when you are asked what is blockchain, it's just simple. Blockchain is a global decentralized spreadsheet or a global decentralized database. Okay. Now
Okay.
the file, another relationship as well is the ledger. You see, in the banking system, you have the ledger, all right,
Okay.
where all your transaction history is stored. You can see everything, every transaction history, everything you've done. You can see that, oh, I sent money to person A on this day, and I received this amount. The same thing with blockchain. When you log into your blockchain network and you check your transaction history, you can see all the transactions that have taken place. Okay, but the difference between the blockchain setting and the banking system is that in the blockchain setting, you can actually see the complete transaction between you and the person you transacted with. You can see everything that took place. You can see how, you can see, the block size, you can see the level of difficulty of that transaction. You can see how many minutes it took for that transaction to be verified. You can actually see everything that happened. You can see the number of nonce which gave rise to the hash. Okay,
Okay.
hash is just the product of a verified transaction. So database is just a decentralized, blockchain is just a decentralized database. Why
Okay.
the opposite is a banking system, centralized database. Okay, that is
All right.
blockchain.
Yes. I wanted you
You're saying
to
something.
link. You have explained very clear that blockchain is a decentralized database, and then it is distributed
Yes.
across worldwide, and it is decentralized. Now, Now that you are talking about the decentralization, I want you to link it to how cryptocurrencies apply on the blockchain. So in that sense, you explain cryptocurrency to the audience.
Okay, well, most people mistake both of them,
Yes, that
but
is why
they're
I
just
want
like
the
two
clarification.
parties that need each other. You see, they both need each other to succeed. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
Now, I always relate it to the banking system because we're looking at this is more like digital finance and, analog, I won't say analog finance, but actually that's what the banking system is still running with the fiat system.
Okay.
So let's relate it to the bank now. Now, we talked about the banking database, okay? The centralized banking database. Why blockchain is a decentralized database, okay? One is controlled from a center, and the other is not controlled from any center, but it's powered by all the nodes connected across the world through what we call consensus mechanism. I'm going to talk about that later. Now, when we look at the banking system, now in the banking system, the currencies that are being processed on the banking database is mainly fiat currencies, all right?
Okay.
Fiat currencies like your dollar, your pounds, your cedis, okay? That's what runs on that database. That's what is being processed on the banking database. But in the crypto side, the currency that is being processed on the blockchain is the cryptocurrency, okay? So blockchain is just like that platform or that database where cryptocurrency transactions are processed, you see, and by the word process, it doesn't mean that the entire transaction runs on the blockchain itself, but with the help of blockchain, you can see, the output of any cryptocurrency based transaction. So the word cryptocurrency should also show you that, this kind of currency is associated with cryptography. All right, that's why we call it cryptocurrency. Currency is currency, all right. But with the word crypto, it tells you a currency that is, in line with cryptography. And why did cryptography come in line with this currency? Because the cryptographic part of the currency is what makes it valid and genuine. Without the cryptographic part, there will be no validity in the blockchain network. In fact, it wouldn't have been accepted worldwide. The power that blockchain has wouldn't have been there if there is no cryptographic part. So the cryptographic part is just that process, okay, which we call the hash function process, okay, that makes it possible for every transaction to be validated. And how does this validation take place? This validation takes place by a process called proof of work or proof of stake. Now we have various consensus algorithms, okay, but the popular ones is the proof of work, okay, and the proof of stake. For the sake of time, I may not discuss all the consensus algorithms, but just know one thing, that cryptocurrency is a cryptographic currency that runs on the blockchain. So let me just break it down now. Now let's look at how the blockchain simply work in line with the cryptocurrency. Okay. Now on the network, you have series of nodes, okay, connecting to that network. Carrying out all of them are connected by virtue of distributed network. If you study more about distributed network, you will understand, how nodes get connected to each other, by cloud. Okay. So now as they are connected, every node, because it's a distributed system, every node can see each other. Every node can, they can gossip. They actually know what happens. Between each other. This is how computers are designed. They see each other. Okay, just like the way your local area network, you have your switch and you have nodes connected to it. They see each other. They talk. They communicate. They share files. All right. So the same thing happens, in the decentralized network. Just that the difference is in the local area network, you still have a center of control, which is your switch. If you take away your switch, every node, they will cease to see each other. They won't see each other anymore. Okay. So your switch in the local network, is the interaction point between all the nodes connected to your switch. But when you go to the distributed network, there is no switch, okay? We just have a cloud of computers, computers connected to a particular point. So every node is connected to that point from across the globe by virtue of the IP address, which is in line with the domain name of that site. For example, www.blockchain.com. That's a block. That's a blockchain for Bitcoin. If you remember when Bitcoin was created earlier, it was only Bitcoin that could be processed on www.blockchain.info. Then they were using .info.
Yeah.
So if I connect, if I connect to www.blockchain.info through my mobile phone, through my computer, or through anything that through the internet, so long as I'm on that network, I'm by virtue of connection part of that network, even without you knowing it. If I have a mobile wallet, all right, which is synchronized to this network, I'm part of that network because I can send and receive cryptocurrencies with my mobile wallet, right? So that is how we connect to this network. So nobody really owns this network. All of us are connecting because we want to carry out one transaction or the other. Okay? So that cloud, that is the blockchain we are talking about. It's from the word, you see, the block in it is transaction. The chain is the connectivity between the nodes. If you've seen a chain before, if you know what I'm talking about, chain is just connectivity. All right, blocks is what? Transactions. So you have transactions moving through chains. Chains in the sense that you have two people holding each other's hand. You have another two people holding each other's hand. By holding each other's hand, it means that they are talking, they are sending and receiving. Something is going on between them. That is what we call. That's what brought about the word peer-to-peer communication. Peer-to-peer. It means I'm sharing with you. You're sending to me and I'm receiving. There's something going on between us. So every node on the network is actually connected to that network. Now, by virtue of them connected to that network, every node there can see what is going on. Nodes communicate, they can see all the transactions. So the cryptocurrency, which is the money that is the money that is documented on that network, what happens is, if let's assume that we have 5 or 6 nodes, or maybe 6 computers, which we know there are millions of computers connected on the blockchain network. Let's assume we have 6 computers connected on the blockchain network, and computer A is trying to send maybe $10 to computer B. All right. Now let's bring it down. Let's assume that computer A is logged into the blockchain network with his mobile phone by virtue of his mobile wallet, and computer B, is logged in using his desktop wallet. All right. Now, computer BA opens his wallet, gets the wallet address of computer B. Computer B will also have to open his own wallet to copy that address. Which means that address is part of that network, of the Bitcoin network. Let me use that word. Now, when you send that wallet address to computer A, all right, now you go to send on your mobile phone, on your mobile wallet, you paste that address and you click send. You see? So once computer A clicks send, what he has done is that computer A has created a broadcast on the Bitcoin network. Computer A has created a gossip. So this gossip will be seen by every node on the network. So they will start gossiping. What is this guy trying to do? Computer A is trying to send $10 to computer B. So every node on the network knows that this is, this. So what the nodes will do is, by virtue of the way the system is programmed, they will all check computer A to be sure that it has the $10. If it has $10, they will all update it. Okay, computer A has $10. Every node will have a permanent stamp that computer A has that $10. So automatically they update their database. All right. When that is updated, then the miners who are part of that network, the miners are also like you and me, but their own system is connected to a special computer known as a miner that is running on the same algorithm used in designing the Bitcoin, which is SHA-256. So that miner, by virtue of the similarity of the program, will pick that transaction and carry out a series of calculations using hash functions. All right, so it's going to put in a kind of input into the SHA-256, and if you know about SHA-256, it's just a one-way it's just a one-way system that has an input and an output that cannot be reverse engineered. Okay, so
Okay.
it gets those input like the amount you're sending, the version. It gets those input like the amount of Bitcoin you're sending, the version of blockchain you're sending from. All right, you get some other input like the level of difficulty of the network at that time. You also get it gets the nonce. The nonce is just a series of numbers from 0 to infinity. So it begins to test all these input into the machine. All right, so this input will be tested by virtue of the nonce. So the particular number of nonce that gives a hash as an output, that is the nonce that leads to the what? That nonce, that particular nonce that gives that the hash that output is the nonce that creates the valid transaction. So as soon as this system runs these calculations and you get a hash, as soon as a hash is derived at the output, those miners will pick this hash and paste it on the blockchain for every node to see. So when they do that, every computer will say, oh, wow, then this transaction has been validated. That's when you start seeing one confirmation. So because it's not just one miner that will do this thing. There are millions of miners competing because as soon as you press send on your phone, you create a broadcast that, every miner begins to compete for that transaction, especially if you pay a very, very attractive fee. So when you have about 2-3 miners confirm it, okay, by that time it's already confirmed. Then there will be a deduction between sender A and there will be a credit on the account of sender B. All these things happens, automatically on the database.
I'd like to take you back
because every node,
to explain something. You have been mentioning the word decentralization, and then you have been mentioning the word distributed network. So I would like you to explain a little bit for someone who have no idea what the meaning of decentralization is. If possible, then if you can explain that concept of distributed network for the audience, that would be very, very good.
Yes, I made mention of this earlier about when I compared the centralized system to a distributed system. Okay. Now, a centralized system is one that has a central server sitting somewhere, all right, whereby every other nodes are connected to that server by virtue of their IP address, by virtue of them being on the same network, all right? But in that kind of a system, if there's a compromise on the server, there will be automatically all the nodes connected will be affected, okay? But in a decentralized system, there is no central connection. There is no central point, okay? We just have in a decentralized system, we have a system where millions of nodes are actually connected in the cloud by virtue of a particular point, by virtue of a particular IP. Okay, I made mention of www.blockchain.com. Okay, so if you study various network topologies, like the Boss network topology, the Ring network topology, the Star network topology, and from that level, you can now move into cloud computing. So when you go into cloud computing, that's when you now go into this, decentralized networks. All right. For example, you as I'm talking now, I know you have some of the information saved in the cloud. You understand? It's saved in the cloud. Okay. So from that cloud level, in cloud, we have a system where all your information is not stored in a particular server. Okay, but it's stored in the cloud. What makes that kind of system possible is what what we call the consensus mechanism, an agreement between nodes, okay? An agreement between nodes connected at a particular point. For example, www.blockchain.com, every node that is on that site, every node that is running the Bitcoin, Bitcoin-based transaction is actually connected to that network because when you carry out any transaction, you still have to go to that particular address, okay, or that particular domain to verify. So by virtue of that, it means that you are part of that network, okay? And because it is decentralized, which means it is not controlled from any center. So what I would advise, if I begin to talk about decentralization, it's going to take me like tomorrow. Okay.
Yes, so I know it's very broad myself.
What you should know as a beginner is that in a decentralized network, nodes that are connected at a center point, they actually contribute to that network. Okay. By virtue of them connecting, They contribute a part of their RAM speed. They contribute a part of their hard drive space. They also contribute a part of their data without you even knowing. Because all the transaction that you see that is stored on the blockchain is stored from on the on the network. It's stored on the space of the hard drive of the nodes on the network. That's why when you log into your own, now let's look at it this way. When you log into your own Bitcoin account, when you log into your own blockchain account, all right, to check your transaction history, you see your ledger. It shows you everything that you've done on the network, right?
Yeah,
that particular file that you see that is actually stored on some space on your hard drive because you're part of that network. You understand? But because you're part of that network, yes, because of part of that network, every node on that network can see that same transaction that you have. So it's just like every node is contributing something. So we can see each other. We can see everything that is stored in you. You can see everything that is stored in me. And that is why I can come check out your transactions. You can come check out mine because you're part of the same network. You understand?
Yes.
So
very clear.
that is the basic. So in this kind of system, there is no central server, there is no central party. Everybody is contributing to the network. And that's what decentralization is all about, in brief. Okay?
That is very, very interesting. But then I also know that you have a very broad knowledge on the use of internet when it comes to crypto traders and all the people that are involved in cryptocurrency. I want to ask this: how do we stay safe on the internet if you are a crypto trader and then a Forex trader, you are using a Bitcoin wallet, you are involved in transacting cryptocurrency? How do you stay safe on the internet?
Well, even before the advent of the crypto space, there've always been, internet related, attacks. Okay? In fact, that was what brought about, in fact, what brought about the white hats, okay, is to actually study how the black hats behave, all right, so that they would know how to counter them, right? So it has always been there. So the rule has always been simple. The rule is, make sure your accounts are well protected with a very strong password. Okay. What I mean, a password that you can have, if possible, you can have it in your head without writing it anywhere. Because some people, they make the mistake of maybe writing their password on their devices or on a file that maybe someone bumps into their system. Maybe they went, for example, they went to the washroom and someone bumps in and just click on their document, and you will see them save their passwords like my passwords, and somebody just clicks it and takes a picture of it. You understand, on their machine, without them even knowing. Some people even expose their usernames and all that. Now, as part of what we teach students, we teach them about social engineering, because social engineering is one of the ways that hackers use to actually get people into releasing their details. If you check your mails, sometimes you'll see a lot of mails that are actually prompting you to submit your your login details and your password. You really don't know where they're coming from, but you keep getting these mails. Sometimes they might be so I don't know how these guys are. I don't know how they're able to see that you are actually part of a particular program or you're part of a particular network. You'll just get a message like, oh, this has happened and you need to reset your account, click on this link. So if you don't pay close attention to where the message is coming from, especially sometimes they use the exact logo of the company. Okay, sometimes they use the exact logo of the company that they know that you're part of. And some of the reasons why they get to know that you're part of those companies is that they've been able to have access to your emails. So they've been able to see some of the emails you've been receiving. So when they see that, they can design a logo that can just be similar to the project you are in, or maybe the banking sector that you're banking with. They can just bring up the same logo and tell you, you need to reset your password. Click on this link to do that. And once you click on those links and submit your details, your account is already compromised, because instantly they can actually log into your account. So what do? Always make sure you check the source of the message. No matter how interesting it is, always check the source. And another advice is to use something like a good VPN, like BrowSec. Yeah, these are very good VPN that can protect all your internet activities. It can also help protect all your applications, and prevent them from being compromised. Okay, so and also you can use stronger emails like Proton Mail. Proton Mail is very strong. Most of the messages on Proton Mail is end to end. It has this SSL protection, end to end encryption. So, which means whatever message you send and receive on Proton Mail cannot be visible to third party, except you actually maybe give someone your details. All right. So those are the kind of emails you should patronize, and also stay safe on the internet by pay close attention. If you see anything online, make sure you give it a second thought. Read about it. Ask someone else about it. So that you don't bump into this thing, because there is nothing you can do about it. The internet is a very big world of its own. People do a lot on the internet.
Yeah, right.
People fabricate so many things. People have different people sit down the same way you sit down to trade, or to trade legally. And some people also sit down to devise means to fraud, to to actually defraud people the same kind of time. So you just have to be very, very vigilant. And also, in the crypto space, you see, if you realize, you see that nowadays, most of the most of the applications in the crypto space are actually coming up with the idea of you having your passphrase, you having your private key. Most of the wallets we have now, they're actually going decentralized in a way, because like as you see, the crypto space is actually evolving. You see, very soon the era of centralized exchanges will also be gone. Okay, like exchanges where people trade and they put their money on there. And because these exchanges, are actually just like what the banks do, the exchanges have a central server where all their traders' details are registered. That's why you even have to do KYC and all those stuff before you can
Yeah,
trade
right.
in any
Right.
international exchange. So yes, and we've had instances of exchanges being hacked, and coins being stolen and all those stuff. So those who carry out this kind of attacks in the crypto space, they know that it's practically impossible, okay, to carry out this attack on the blockchain network by virtue of that consensus algorithm. They know that it's practically impossible. So what they do is that they target the servers of these exchanges. So, and sometimes they even work with internal parties who are also part of the exchange managers. So all these things happen. So before you know it, some exchanges shut down and people's money gets stuck. So right now, the crypto space is going into decentralization, decentralized exchanges like Uniswap. You can see what Uniswap is doing. Uniswap is taking that lead, okay? Because if you go and check the volumes, in dollars that is actually being invested in Uniswap, is in billions and billions of dollars. This shows you that many people are beginning to get fed up with the centralized exchange system. So everything is going decentralized. But as it is going decentralized, you must learn how to protect your private key. Because in those days of centralization, the creators of those wallets, the creators of those platforms, they actually hold your private key and give you your basic login details, so that when you forget them, they can help you reset it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But now, when they go totally decentralized as they are going, they're going to give you access to everything. They'll give you your private key, which should be in form of sometimes 12-word phrase, or and also the main private key itself. You can copy it and write it down in a very safe place. Keep it private yourself. Okay, keep it so
Okay.
private, because if anybody has access to your passphrase, they can actually access any of your wallets. Okay, so how to stay safe is to protect your passphrase. And one good thing, I won't say it's a bad thing, is that when you lose your passphrase and you can't remember your password, if you lose your device, nobody can help you recover your money. Not even the people who created the platform that you're using, because what they would have used is your private key, which they have given to you. Okay, so they
Okay.
cannot help you anymore. So if you intend to come into the crypto space, you must pay attention to. First of all, you need to get basic foundation. You see, everything I've said now looks very simple, but it's actually
Yeah.
not simple for a beginner. So you need to get that foundation. The foundation is going to help you to stand on your feet. It's going to help you to know what is real and what is not real. Because the crypto space is really very interesting if you know how to play on it. Okay, you can actually dance with a scammer and get away without, sorry, without them, biting you. Okay,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you know. But okay, so yeah, so and there is nothing anybody can. You can't say, it's going to get to a point where people will not want to scam people online. I don't think any time like that is ever going to come. So, but you have to prepare yourself, to be conscious of what you do. All right. So, and when you're coming into the crypto space, you need to get the foundation, get the basics, learn how to create secured wallets for yourselves, learn how to, once you have this basic background, you can now build from there. Okay. So that is my advice to, to those who intend to come in. And security wise, if you put some of these things into actions, I'm sure it's going to help you.
all right,
There is a default password when setting up any wireless network. There is a default password. Okay, and that default password is what most people know. So some people set up wireless networks without even changing that default password. Some people, so people make some of these mistakes, and that is how people are able to tap into them. And I think there's some devices as well that some people use to actually scan. They actually they'll be able to see all the list of network available in an area, and see which one is well protected. But I don't really know about
yeah.
that. But the basic thing is, as you're setting up your Wi-Fi network, make sure you're using a very strong firewall. Make sure you keep your password very private. Who will meet them to actually get their, so, and you don't give people your password to connect, except it's a temporary password. If it's not a temporary password, which will expire when they are logged out from your own server, you can connect them. Okay, because you are the eye of the whole network. So if you manage your network like this, it will be very difficult for anybody to break it. It will be very very difficult. But when you don't take cognizance of those checklists, you might not know when you enabled a particular plugin that may allow an external IP address to tap from your network. So aside that, those are the basic things. So
That
it's
is
very very safe
really
to
a
use
lot.
wireless
That is,
network. It's very safe,
yes.
but just make sure you're protected. Make sure you disable any notifications from your network.
Okay, that is very broad. So since you are trading,
Yeah, it's been quite
um,
a time.
yes, um, what do you think about Bitcoin performance this year?
Okay, okay. If you look at this year, I would say it's a year of survival.
Okay,
I, we all know that the year has been a very very, let me say, a very wonderful year. It's a year like no other because
sure, sure.
a lot has been happening with the COVID and a whole lot. The world is actually on a standstill, but thanks to the power of decentralization, okay, where
Yeah,
nobody controls anything. Bitcoin has been running, but what we've observed so far since this year, you see, the Bitcoin market is still a growing market. It's not as big as the Forex market yet. Okay, it's still
okay.
growing, and for the past 10 years, it has survived. So many turbulent times in the world markets. Okay, for instance, the first week in March, I think it was in March, first week when the first phase of the COVID setting, most markets across the world were slashed by more than 50%. I hope you knew that.
Yeah, right.
S&P 500, you know, almost all the markets of the world were slashed by more than 50%, which also which also in a way affected the Bitcoin. Bitcoin dropped to almost about $4,000. You see, but it was a good opportunity for people to understand where Bitcoin is actually going. To some people, it was the end of Bitcoin, because it was dropping, and before we knew it, it dropped from, I think it was at 10,000. Yes, it dropped from 10,000 before you could know what was going on. It was already at 4,000. And when that happened, I had some friends in Canada. They just text me and say, "Jeks, this is the time to buy." And I was like, "Really?" So, but most people they didn't see that it was time to buy. But what happened? within a space of 1 month or so, Bitcoin was back to 10,000. It started, building a very strong support around 10,000 to
Yeah.
11,000. So the Bitcoin market is generally bullish. Don't let anybody deceive you. Don't let anybody deceive you. Okay. I don't want to. If you want to learn more about the path that the network is going, you would need to join introductory cryptocurrency based programs where we'll go deeper into market analysis, market evaluation. But don't let anybody deceive you. The Bitcoin network is on a bullish trend. Okay, it's bullish in the sense that the general trend is upwards. It's upward for so many reasons. The demand is just still growing. People are becoming, people are beginning to understand the power of the blockchain and the power of a decentralized system. Okay, so people are
Okay.
beginning to understand this technology, and I can't even tell you, where the price is gonna be by this time next 2 3 years. I'm telling you, if I see it at $60,000 for one BTC, I won't be surprised.
I
That's just
see.
the truth. I won't be surprised because imagine if 10 to 15% of the world understand the power of blockchain. What do you think will happen to the price of Bitcoin? It's $100,000 is a joke. You understand? So
Yeah.
the trend is generally bullish, okay? But
Okay.
when it comes to Bitcoin performance, you see, it's a different ball game because the Bitcoin network itself has really faced a lot of challenges, okay?
Okay.
A lot of challenges from people who really don't understand technology, people who spread false narratives about it, people who actually look for a way to manipulate the prices of in the crypto space, from the powers that be, those who actually does anything in the forex market. All right. So
Yeah.
all these things are part of it. But the only reason why, irrespective of the manipulation, Bitcoin always comes back up and strong is because of what the demand. Okay, the demand for the blockchain based products.
Yeah.
Okay, because of that anonymity and that power of decentralization. And like I said, the day, a good percentage of the world comes on a calm day, man, I can't tell you, what price, cryptos are going to soar. Like prices that you see now at $1 might jump to about $20 or more. So, and that education is still going on, because if you look at every sector in the world right now, since the gold standard system, was abolished since the U.S. broke that law and abolished the gold standard system in 1971 by President Richard Nixon. Since that time, the world currencies, I mean, the fiat currencies have not been the same again. So countries have embarked from printing and all these things, and it has created a whole of high level of inflation. So the only way to even remedy all those situations is the adoption of digital currencies. All right, currencies that have maximum limits to which they can be printed. Unlike what we have now, that there is no limit. Okay, and if you understand how money works, if you go by the principles of what money is, whenever there is excess printing of money, the value drops. It's just a simple economics. So the blockchain is thriving because people are beginning to understand that there is a system that nobody controls or prints anyhow they want. There is a system that has a maximum amount that can ever be produced by virtue of the program, which even the owner who writes it, as soon as it is launched on the blockchain network, cannot even control it anymore. Because everything that happens on the network is a decision of all the nodes across the world, which is the power of consensus algorithm, consensus mechanism, the process of agreement. So there is it's a global agreement. Satoshi was able to make some Bitcoin for himself, not because he designed the network. He was able to make some Bitcoin because when he created the Bitcoin in 2008, he was mining with his desktop computers, and he mined a lot because at that time the block reward was still 50 Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
So if Satoshi had not mined the way he mined when he started the blockchain network, there is no way you can come now and say, oh, because I wrote the Bitcoin code, therefore I must have the share of Bitcoin. It's not possible. The code has been written and it's been, so, but he understood what he was doing. He did his job very well. And we don't know who he is even till today, but he did a very good job because, you know, it has actually opened the eyes of the world to another way of what carrying out transactions in a more safer and in a more faster way. So we thank him for that. We really don't know him, but we hope someday we'll get to know who Satoshi is. So when you look at the forces that Bitcoin has, when you look at the crypto market, it looks like a market that is striving to survive, a
Okay.
market that is, that is striving to come up. Look at the introduction of, decentralized finance. Thank God for blockchain networks like Ethereum. Ethereum is another world of its own. Ethereum is huge. I used to tell my students that is bigger. Ethereum is bigger and better than Bitcoin. Why? Because what you can do on the Ethereum network, you cannot do it on the Bitcoin network. Because of Ethereum, because of the introduction of the ERC20 smart contracts. That is why we have things like decentralized finance today. That's why we have things like Uniswap. So a whole lot of projects is coming into the crypto space because of smart contracts. Thanks to Vitalik Buterin and his guys, they are doing a great job. So we're actually very thankful to these guys because they are doing so much. They are doing so much to change the narrative. Because the blockchain is the only thing that can bring financial equality in the world. It's the only thing that can bring 100% financial transparency in the world. There is nothing else. There is nothing else. Okay. So I don't want to dive much into that. If you join our training programs, part of the things we will teach you, if you want to go into crypto trading or forex trading, is how the candles interpret the market. Candles information is a very, very basic key that you must know, you must have in order to be successful in trading. So, well, the future is bright. Like I said, if you have an eye, just like those two, you see, um, they sorry to say, but everything that is centralized has failed us at one point, at a time. They've always failed because these are humans who sit behind servers, and sometimes they make decisions that doesn't really favor anybody but them. And humans will always make decisions that favor them, at every point in time.
Yeah,
It's
right.
very, very difficult for humans to make decisions that won't actually favor them in any way. Very, very difficult. So, so long as the financial system is centralized, there's always gonna be there's always gonna be that compromise. There's always gonna be that irregularity. There's always gonna be those misuse. For example, a few days ago there was the FinSec. I think the FinSec or thereabout. They published about 5 major banks across the world. These
Okay.
are major banks. We have banks like Deutsche Bank, New York Bank, Mellon was there, and HSBC of all banks, and so many other big banks across the world. These are banks that are actually supposed to be regulating the world's financial system because they actually control the world's financial system. Okay, but look at what was revealed. They've actually been busy moving money for cartels and since 2000. So a whole lot has been going on that we do not know. And the reason why we don't know is because we don't have access to their database. We don't know what they do. But imagine a world where everything is decentralized, where you can pick the wallet address of your government, of your president, and go check on the blockchain yourself and see what's going on, or the wallet address of your, elected personnel. Okay, this is my wallet address. Go check it out. So anybody, even a child, can check and see, oh, was there any transaction on this wallet at this time? And so everything becomes transparent.
Yeah,
So the
that
only
is
thing,
right.
the only thing that can settle all this financial mess is the digital currency, is the blockchain, the cryptocurrency. You see, so but it's not always easy, changing the narrative of what the world has been used to. But like a very good philosopher said, the only way to change something is to create something that will make the old version obsolete. Until you do that, you cannot change anything. Okay, that was what Satoshi did in 2008. In fact, as soon as the world experienced the financial crisis, that was the best time for him to show up. That was the best time to release that article because many people's money was stuck in the banks. They couldn't even get their money out. You understand?
Yeah.
Because who crashed? Because if you look at what happened to what caused the global financial crisis, you will see it's the same mismanagement that we're talking about. By the powers that be, by the banking system that control the financial world. there was a lot of mismanagement in terms of giving out loans for mortgage and all those things. So, a lot happens. Banks went broke. Banks didn't have money anymore because they've actually given out money to people who are not willing to pay back. So a lot of things happened. And even when the Federal Reserve, springed into action to print more monies for the banks, it ended up messing a whole lot of stuff up. So that tells you that the centralized system, it cannot guarantee a stable financial system across the world, until decentralization is embraced globally. So, and when you talk about decentralization, it still brings you back to a kind of currency that that is not controlled from any particular center, a currency that is controlled by everybody on the network, a currency that gives people access to their own transactions, it gives them 100% access to their transactions without any form of manipulations. So those are the things. So the as the world is being enlightened, that's why we take we pay very close attention to training, okay? Because people learn when they are mentored. People, when the more the knowledge is going out, the more people come to understand how this thing works. And what we've seen in recent years is, global adoption, in the crypto space. Like me, for instance, 4 years ago, 4 years ago, I went to fund my Forex account, and lo and behold, I found what Bitcoin was. And you understand? So everybody with different experience. But what I see in this space is a space where a whole lot of people are coming into it. From the corner, some people will just hear something that sweetens them. If they hear something like, do you know you can actually have access to your own money anytime, any day, without nobody? You understand what I mean? That
Yeah, right.
alone can drop. Perhaps they've been one of these people that maybe they got their money stuck in some banks and they couldn't withdraw it, or they mistakenly, carried out some transactions. Some people that have been frustrated one way or the other by the fiat system. So people who jump into the Bitcoin network in 2010, were people who saw what Satoshi was saying, because as soon as the financial crisis happened, there was a failure in the entire banking system, all right, and the world was waiting. So what next? What is the other option? And lo and behold, Satoshi released this article of what. You see, it took time to. If you watch that article, which is released in 2008, it took time to elaborate the features of what that
Yeah,
electronic payment
yeah,
is
it's
going to
very
have.
broad. Yeah,
So, so those features is what attracted people. That wow. So we can have a system where we can actually control our own transactions. Wow. And looking at what the banks have done, how so people rush into it, people embrace it, and here we are today. The blockchain network is still growing, and it's going to continue to grow. In fact, by this time next year, or even before 2030, I used to say something. If you're a trader, we use the term history repeats itself. In fact, one of the basics of success in technical analysis is looking at what happened in the market previously and when you come in, because the same thing is going to repeat itself always.
yeah, yeah.
So, what happened in 2010, just 10 years ago, it's going to happen again before the next 10 years. Before. But it's going to be more, it's going to be more tremendous than what happened 10 years ago, because now the world is going faster in technological adoption. Like I said, everything is in. Do you understand? So
Yeah, I
with
do.
this kind of era, most governments are beginning to consider launching a digital payment system. Like we have the digital dollar coming out, we have digital euro, we have the digital yuan. Why are they going digital? Because the paper currency, what we call the fiat currency, very soon you might not be allowed to use the fiat currency, because experts have proven that people can transmit COVID-19 can be transmitted through the use of paper currency.
Okay.
So yes, so countries are beginning to go digital right now, so that you can sit in your house, you can store your digital dollar on your wallet, and walk into any Walmart store, scan the barcode, pay for your goods, and it's deducted. So there will no need to carry the physical dollar anymore. So that's where the world is going. You understand? And the physical, the digital dollars, the digital euro, digital pound, and all these digital fiat currencies that are being created, you know, it now shows you, that alone is going to draw more attention to the digital currency. You understand? It's going to
Yeah,
draw more
right.
attention to the crypto space. By the time a good percentage of the world dollar and the digital fiat system that is being created by the government We know there's going to be KYC, there's going to be all those procedures and all those stuffs. All right, we know that. So, but by virtue of love for freedom, which people have always yearned for, they are still going to embrace crypto the more because it gives them that atom of anonymity, right? So the crypto space is in the future is just too bright. I can't really, it's beyond what I can imagine. But what everybody should do, especially we most people in this part of the world, is to pay attention to what is going on. Understand the technology, read about it, understand how it works, get this basic training. Understand how the system works. You'll be so amazed at what effort people are putting in. Look at the success of Uniswap. Uniswap has been able to successfully build a decentralized exchange. Now they just launched their governance token, which is the unique governance token, which means that very soon everything that happens on Uniswap exchange is going to be based on voting. Even they who created the Uniswap exchange won't have control over it. So that is the way the world, that is what we call the power of decentralization. You understand? So the future of crypto is is so bright beyond what you can imagine. It's just so bright. And the blockchain technology is not only applicable to the financial world. The blockchain technology is actually applicable to various areas of life, including supply chain, real estate, everything you can do physically, including the like the DFI, decentralized finance. It's just a decentralized way of doing everything that we do in the traditional banking system. Okay. You understand? You have the Maker DAO, the lending platforms, the insurance platforms. So more than thousands of projects are being launched on the DFI network to carry out to solve various financial related, to provide various financial related solutions. So everything is going digital, and the future of blockchain is very bright. The blockchain as a technology is going to be more than the internet evolution. That's what I see. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much for being very detailed. I mean, I have also learned a lot listening to you, and yeah. I hope the audience will learn a lot. But then I want to talk about your trading school. I'll be linking the description below the video so that people who want to join your trading school to learn can come. But then, what inspired you to start your crypto forex trading school?
Man, what actually inspired me is the level of the lack of information about what is going on. You see, if you look at 2-3 years ago, okay, most people just they started hearing the word Bitcoin. Through Africa, for instance, was introduced into Bitcoin and the blockchain space through Ponzi schemes like MMM, okay. Ponzi schemes like Zafond. If you remember Zafond, there's so many Ponzi schemes that came into Africa that actually started using the crypto payment system as a means of payment. They were actually using Bitcoin to be specific. So that was what made people know about Bitcoin because they actually joined all these Ponzi's. And for those who went into a very, very, informed about how Ponzi's work, they never knew they were playing a very dangerous game. So even though they were actually using Bitcoin to fund their platforms on these Ponzi networks, they didn't understand that the Ponzi's they were dealing with has nothing to do with the blockchain or the cryptocurrency network. The cryptocurrency network was.
I really like the fact that you are clarifying this.
Yeah. So it's very, very important. So because so for some of us who have been used to how Ponzi's work, it's just like robbing Peter and paying Paul. I encounter a lot of people when you have to take time to explain to them that okay, this is a Ponzi scheme. Don't do this. Don't invest here. And they tell you no. So people actually fell for some of these Ponzi's and they ended up losing their money. And most people actually saw it like I remember somebody called and was like, "Oh, he heard that Bitcoin has collapsed." I said, "How?" So he said, "No, that." So, but some of them, when they join these Ponzi's and they take their cryptos, they see it like the entire Bitcoin network has because they don't have the information. So it now requires that you have to now teach them that the Bitcoin you were using to pay was just a means of payment. The system that you were running on was the Ponzi system. They were, so by the time you explain this to them, and before they will now understand. So that really geared me to, begin training people. So because what we do in the first phase is that we teach you the history of money, which you can never be taught in any school. No school in this world can teach you the history of money because they don't want you to know about it. They don't want you to know what happened.
That is right.
So when you learn the history of money, you will be able to understand where the world is going and the changes that the cryptocurrency space is bringing to the financial world. So when you have this knowledge, automatically your ways of thinking is going to change. And when you see Ponzi schemes, part of our projects, part of our programs, we have very, very good ways to detect Ponzi's, and so there's a whole lot you're going to learn. From the history of money, will bring you into the blockchain concept, the cryptocurrency concept, the relationship between them, how to carry out market evaluation, how to evaluate various tokens, and how to also know which project, because you see, there's a thousands of coins out there, but which one should you invest in and why? You see, these are questions that every reasonable investor who wants to take advantage of the crypto space should ask himself, why this project? So those are part of the things we review. We analyze various projects and see why you should pay attention to it. And we also analyze some and show you why you should avoid them. Okay? So those are the things that you're going to learn. So those are the things that get me into training people, especially in this part of the world. Many people are not really informed. So because of that, the only way that you can contribute is to keep, educating as many as you can educate. Keep educating people because it's going to save them from the many pitfalls. Like I said, the Ponzi's you see in the crypto space on the internet will never end. It will only reduce when people get informed. If people don't get informed, they will keep falling for these things. So that's the essence of the education, right? And also remember, like I used to say, that the next set of millionaires, they're not going to come from the oil and gas industry. They're going to emerge from blockchain and strategic crypto investors, strategic ones. Do you understand? So you need, yeah. So that is the way it is. So that's what inspired me to, to keep reaching out to many people. I've trained a couple of people from various parts of the world, from the UK, the US, from Africa, so many.
I'm really well aware of that.
Yeah. So, and we're just beginning, we intend to keep educating people about this space, so that they can have the foundation and see where the world is going, because everything we have around us is not actually giving us that ability to see. You understand? To see that most people don't even understand that there is the first financial revolution took place about 60, 70 years ago, when the gold standard system was lifted by President Richard Nixon. America broke the what do we call it, the accord, the Bretton Woods Accord. America broke that accord, and since that time, that was the first wave of the first financial revolution. Africans didn't understand what was going on. Most people didn't know that there was a change in the trend to actually keep some people on top forever and keep others below. They never understood what was going on. Okay, but that was what happened. So now the world is going through the second financial revolution. And this type of revolution that is going on now is not the type that will keep some people ahead. It's a type that is creating a global transparency and a global equality in the financial world. But if you don't tap into it, if you don't join, if you don't understand how it works, you might be left behind and you're going to miss a whole lot. Okay, so that is the essence, of the things that we do, of the training that we offer.
All right, sure.
Thank you.
And thank you too for being very detailed about everything that I hope the audience will enjoy this conversation as much as I did. But then I would like us to wrap up, and the last thing I want us to talk about is I want to actually find a way to bring the whole crypto community together. So all the people that are putting in effort to drive crypto adoption forward, I'd like to link up with all of them. But then as a crypto educator, a trader, and I can say that in this business we have been in all aspects of the business. I want you to, if you had a message or if you had the opportunity to talk to all the people in the crypto space, any advice, anything that you'd like us to be aware of or know, if you have a message for the crypto community, you would like to hear.
Well, the crypto community is a very big community, okay? But it's a very promising environment. Most of the things we enjoy in the crypto space is 100% transparency. We enjoy that level of anonymity in our transactions, and it's a code that has been written that cannot be manipulated by anyone. Okay, so just keep being steadfast, and like I said, for those of us, for those in the crypto space, we are in the crypto space because we see where the world financial system is going. It's not because of what we see on the external, right? Because the fiat system, which most of us were born to, is a system that is designed not to actually create a global financial equality or create a global financial transparency, but with the algorithm of used in developing cryptocurrencies, we can see a system that is working towards creating a world where people can be able to have a say in what happens in their financial life. So that alone is what should keep you going, in the crypto space, and keep educating people. Keep educating people. Keep educating them to understand this network on how it works. Okay, so that's my advice. Just keep the hope going,
Sure,
keep the
sure.
spirit going. Keep decentralization going. It's going to change the world more than the way the internet did in the early 90s. The blockchain revolution is so huge. As I'm talking to you, there are thousands of companies across the world that are currently deploying blockchain related solutions to make their work easy. So things are shifting, you know, things are changing. So everybody in the crypto space, they, subscribe to various important news outlets. You can subscribe to Crypto Ras. It's doing a very good job too. Sometimes I just go through some of his articles and I was like, wow,
Yeah.
there are not more people doing what you're doing. Honestly, that's one of the things that attracted me. Sometimes I read a lot of your blogs, and you do a whole lot in the secret. Most people don't really know what the effort you're putting into come up with those advanced blog and those information. Sorry. So we need more of your time. To try to subscribe to the crypto community. Subscribe to cryptoras.com. Just subscribe to his blog and get updated. You get to see information.
Yeah, thank you.
Across the entire crypto space and other blogs as well. So just be connected to what is going on, so that you'll be able to. Because if you're not connected to what is going on, then you're not part of the network. Because
Yeah, right.
the crypto space is a 24/7 network. It's not controlled by anybody. So things are happening. Things are happening. Different things
Yeah,
are coming up
definitely every day.
every day. So just keep yourself updated. You're not going to regret being in the crypto space. I've never regretted it once, because it is a world. It is the first time, that you enjoy complete 100% transparency. A system where there is no central control, there is no unnecessary, so it's just so huge, if you understand. And I believe all of us in the crypto space knows the power of the crypto space and the blockchain technology. So we should just keep building. Okay, if you want to get more education as well, get more education. Okay, get more education about
Yes, about the
blockchain.
education, I'll be linking in the description how they can get in touch with you, how they can
Yeah.
learn. So after the video, you can check below the description and you'll see how to connect with Mr. Jeks.
Great. So you can come in with us. We're gonna teach you everything you need to know, the basic foundation you need to build. All right. For
Sure.
those who are interested in becoming blockchain developers, we can show you the path to follow. Okay, because if you don't know the path to follow, it's going to be so confusing. All right. So we guide you through those paths so that you can actually come into this space and grow. All right. So
Alright.
yeah. So it's been a very very long talk tonight. And
Sure, sure.
I really
And
have a question. So
I like I like to thank you very much for taking
welcome.
the time to do this. So we wrap up from here, and then I hope we get time to do this again.
I hope so. But I had to, give this time because I believe information is power, and
Sure, sure,
I might not know everything, but with the little that I know, I always like to share so that people
sure,
can learn.
sure, sure.
So
Thank
I'm
you,
one
thank
of
you
these
for
days
that.
to, I have time to actually meet again.
Sure,
Thank you
it's a
for
pleasure having you. It's a pleasure having
you're
you.
welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.